I am back from TwitchCon, okay? Probably my like 7th. I've been to many TwitchCons, okay? And I just came back from the most recent one, which was in San Diego, TwitchCon 2024. And if you haven't heard, some shit went down at TwitchCon. All right, not that I was involved in, but some shit went down at TwitchCon. I'm not going to get into some specifics, but there was some crazy shit that went down with kick streamers, like literally physically and sexually harassing people. There was some infidelity that has occurred, some new members to the Champions Club. But me personally, I had a much different TwitchCon experience, okay? Now, I've been to quite a few TwitchCon San Diegos. And the drive, if you don't know, from LA to San Diego is a pretty nice one. And there's no way to fly there, all right? Probably rightfully so. The flight would be like 15 minutes and it would be a waste of gasoline, I think. So the only way to get down there is maybe by like train, which I've done in the past, or driving. And if you don't know, recently I got into a bit of a Vespa accident, as it were. And because of the Vespa accident, I haven't ridden a two-wheel vehicle in a while, which you might think is a good thing if you don't want me to get hurt and you're scared that I will get hurt on a two-wheel vehicle. But it's also a bad thing because I still want to do my ride across Japan with Michael Reeves. So for this San Diego trip, it was my first foray back in to this two-wheel vehicle, like, you know, habit, right? It was my first time back on the bike. And I'd planned to do a ride with Michael down to San Diego. And I prepared for this ride pretty well, right? Like I made sure I had all my gear. I geared up as good as I could. I packed my bag the night before. And my plan was to get to the warehouse, which is where I store my bike, like 11 to noon, and then ride down. It's about like a 2-ish hour ride on motorcycle because it cuts down a lot of the traffic time because you get to go in between lanes in California. All right. So that was the plan. And I had to be at TwitchCon by the very latest, like 3, maybe 3:30 if I'm really pushing it, because I had a show to do at 4. This is important. I had a show to do at 4. I had planned to leave at noon the latest with the hopes of being there closer to like 2:30. Now, I have been riding a Vespa a lot. I've not ridden my motorcycle in a while. So the week before this adventure, I go to the warehouse, I boot up my motorcycle, and I ride it around. It starts perfectly. It drives well. There's a little bit of gas. I'm going to have to fill it more later on. But, you know, it works. I'm like, dope. There's one issue with it, though. It's dirty. Ugh, yuck. It's so dusty from having sat there and, you know, some of just the dust that crops up in LA that I got it detailed. So I got my bike detailed, drove it. Next week I show up. I get there like 11-ish, and I hop on the bike. I turn it on. Nothing. The bike does not turn on. Not only does not turn on, it doesn't even have the red light that says there's like usually a red blinking light that's like an alarm light. That light's not even on. And I'm like, ugh, it's dead. I'm going to have to jumpstart this. Now, luckily for me, not too far away from where I work is a car shop. So I walk the motorcycle, literally walk it like, you know, a few blocks to this shop. And I pull up and I just go, hey guys, Can you help me with my bike? Can you help me jumpstart it? And they're super nice. They're like, hell yeah, dude. We jumpstart the bike. It turns on. W! Bike turns on. They walk away. I go, can I pay you guys? They go, nah, man, you're all set. I go, thank you so much. You guys are a lifesaver. You don't even know. And then they walk away. The moment they walk away, bike turns off. And so I'm like, okay, this is going to be awkward. So I walk back and I go, hey, oh my God. Okay. Wow. This interaction's been really good. Hey, sorry. I'm sorry. The bike turned off again. I don't know what's going on with that. So we try jumpstarting it again because I thought maybe I fucked up. Maybe I didn't rev it. Maybe I need to instantly ride it out so the alternator can go, the tires can go, whatever. It doesn't work this time. And at this time, like an hour has passed. Michael has showed up. He's like, hey, man, ready for the trip? I'm like, small bike issue. Gonna fix it real quick. Then we can go. He's like, great. Love it. Still, it's like 12:30-ish, right? We're not too late here. And what we do now is we pour gas in the bike. We jumpstart it again. It has gas. It'll jumpstart. We'll be all good. This time, not only does it not jumpstart, the battery is not taking any power at all. The lights don't even turn on. And I'm like, oh, okay, we got an issue here. We got an issue that goes beyond what I initially thought was the battery is a bit low. Our battery's completely dead. So now I'm scrambling. I'm like, oh fuck, okay, maybe I drive down, maybe I try to ask for a friend's motorcycle. I'm going through all this. And now it's like 1 o'clock. I look on my phone how long it would take to drive from LA to San Diego. Just coincidentally, around that time, there was a bad accident on the 5 South, which is the main highway that connects those two cities. The accident was so bad that when it told me 2.5 hours earlier in the day via car, it had jumped up to 3.5. And I was like, 3.5. That's rough. Because now, at 1 o'clock, even if I left right now, I would be late for the event that I need to be at 4 o'clock. And so now I start thinking of backup plans. And I start calling around. I start literally calling people I know who have motorcycles to borrow their motorcycles. The guy who sees me panicked, he goes, dude, we can just replace the battery. And I go, what? He goes, yeah, we'll just replace the battery. Me, not being a good car guy, I didn't know that was an option. I thought I had like special battery that, you know, like, because it's a motorcycle, right? Like I know Toyota Camry batteries, they fucking print them by the dozen. I thought motorcycle battery was like a little specialer, you know? So I'm like, let's do that. He's like, yeah, I'll get one right now. And I'm like, hell yeah. And I sit there. And then he goes off into the back somewhere. And then he comes back and he goes, all right, it'll be here in 30 minutes. I'm like, what? He's like, oh, well, the battery's not here. It's going to be driven by this guy over here. And so I'm doing calculus. I'm like, okay, if I wait 30 minutes for this battery to arrive, will that be faster based off the time I cut from traffic than if I just leave on a car now? And I'm trying to do this math in my head, understanding that I got a D+ in calculus when I was in high school. And I come to the conclusion that like, okay, no, I would actually save more time if I wait for the battery. So I wait. And to this guy's credit, they did get the battery in 30 minutes. What I didn't factor in is they needed someone to install said battery, which wasn't an insanely long process, but because they were also juggling other customers, ended up being closer to an hour. Around this time, because I was supposed to be doing a show for Twitch Rivals for Hassan called Debate Lords, I'm like, guys, I'm running into some problems here with the battery. Might be a little bit late here. And Hassan smartly says, share me your location. And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And so I share my location. And after I share my location, communication ceases. Nobody is sending me messages from the Twitch Rivals end. They have their homing beacon tracker on me, and they're using that plus the information from Google Maps to make all of their informed decisions. I don't end up leaving until 3. This adventure started at 11:30. It took 3.5 hours to resolve this battery issue. Bear in mind, I was supposed to be there at 4. So they've seen this. They've already made the executive decision to replace me on the show with Jason the Ween. Now, I drive down, I do my thing. I actually save a lot of time because it said 3.5 hours on maps. We make it in about 2 hours, 15. And I think I get to the show about halfway through. I think there's 5 total segments. I get there before the 3rd segment starts. But bear in mind, I've already been replaced, so I'm just kind of sitting there. And they're like, yeah, you're just going to go on and help Baby No Money. He's in last place. What basically ends up happening if you didn't watch the show, if I can distill it for you, is last place Baby No Money in this debate show gets assistance from me. I walk on. Hassan roasts me for being late. He does even worse with me on the stage than he did without me on the stage. We end up getting dead last, gifted a book that says how to win any argument because we're so bad at debating as a squad. And then we all pie Hassan in the face. I let him pie me because I felt bad because he was the only one getting pied. And I was like, I don't deserve to pie this man unless he pies me too. And then I had to take a shower. Now, we are sharing a hotel room. We being me and Cutie, me and my girlfriend. I call Cutie to try to get into said hotel because I do not have the key for it. And I don't think my name is on the hotel. So I call Cutie. She picks up and I hear a lot of noise in the background. And she goes, hello? And I go, hey, babe. And she goes, what do you think I'm doing right now? And I realize, because I look at the clock, She right now is doing a live podcast, whine about it, in front of like 100 people. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay. All right. My bad. And, we bant a little bit back and forth. I get yelled at by the crowd. I'm a jackass. I hang up and I'm like, I need a different shower to go to. Luckily for me, I got a shower. Specifically, I was offered a hotel room, all right, by Twitch. And let me paint a picture for you, okay? This is going to be important. Let me paint a picture for you. So this is TwitchCon San Diego. This is the bay, right? This is the ocean. There's ocean literally right here. In front of the ocean, almost directly in front, is the convention center, okay? To the right of the convention center is a hotel called the Marriott. And that one is usually purchased by people attending the conventions that are happening, AKA like viewers, all right? Over here, across the street in the railroad, is a hotel called the Omni. This is the hotel room that Twitch basically booked a shit ton of rooms for and only allowed creators to enter. And this is where they offered me a hotel. Over here, across the street, is the Hilton. And this is kind of like the overfill. If you didn't order early enough to get a Marriott as a viewer, or if you didn't order early enough as a creator to the Omni, you end up at the Hilton. Now, I wasn't late. I booked my hotel room in the Omni. But bear in mind, I booked a hotel room just in case. I ultimately didn't need one because I'm staying with my girlfriend who also has a hotel room. And so I offered my hotel room to Nick Yingling, who was going to the event. I said, yeah, Yingo, you can have my hotel. Now, this is all important. I'm telling you all this information because Maya Higa, Cutie's best friend, famous Twitch streamer, animal lover, didn't book a hotel through the Twitch portal. For whatever reason, Twitch didn't give her the link to get a hotel. For some reason, they didn't give her a link to buy the hotel that all the Twitch streamers were at, but they did give her $100,000 for Alveus, her sanctuary on stage. There's some disconnect going over at Twitch headquarters. I don't know. She ended up at the Hilton, but she wanted to be at the Omni to hang out with Cutie and all the other streamers. And she said, Ludwig, if you have a hotel room, would you be down to swap? I said, yeah, whatever. Yingo's getting a free hotel room. I'm sure Yingling wouldn't mind being at the Hilton. It's an equal distance from the venue itself. We will swap. She goes, great. And so I call up Yingo. I go, Yingo, can I shower in your hotel room? He goes, sure. So I started heading over to the hotel room. As I'm getting closer to the Hilton, all right, bear in mind, I'm going to the Hilton, which is the hotel that now I have along with Yingling. This is going to matter so much. As I walk over, I hear... And I'm like, okay, like some tribal shit going on. It's weird. And then I start hearing muffled voices like, wait a bot. And I get a little closer and I start to hear, what do we want? Equal pay. What do we want? One job. They are on strike. The hotel is on strike. And littered in front of the hotel room doors are dozens and dozens and dozens of union workers who are arguing for higher wages. And I am standing there cream-pied with all my fucking shit, all my gear, with nowhere else to go, needing a shower, right in between a scab walking through the strike. I'm like, sorry. Now, I have parked my bike at the Hilton without knowing the strike was going on because the parking garage is it's over here for reference. And this is where Twitch told me to park it. So I parked it over here. Since I have a motorcycle, I literally skipped the payment part of it. I just parked my bike in the area that's do not park here. Because that's kind of how us motorcycle drivers roll. So I go up, I take a shower, I leave all my stuff there because that same evening, I am going to go see Cutie's Wine About It show. She's doing 2 shows back to back. And I have my motorcycle helmet, I have my jacket, I have my bag. I can't bring it all to my hotel room and walk around with it. It's too much. So I decide to leave my stuff there to get it later. So I leave the hotel and I'm cursing Maya's name. I'm with Yingling in Cam. I'm like, I can't believe Maya has hoodwinked us into staying at a striked hotel. We are scabs because we got the fucking short end of this stick. I didn't even buy this hotel. The hotel is not even in our name. It is still in Maya's name. Anyway, I ended up going to Wine About It Live. It was a great show. While I'm there, Yingling goes and starts drinking. This is also going to be important. Him and Cam decide to go to like 10 different bars and take a Jaeger bomb at each bar. During this journey, he runs into Cinna's father and starts ripping shots with Cinna's dad. I know about this because around midnight, I'm getting texts saying, "Where is Yingling?" And when I look at my phone, the last text I got from him, I can literally read it out to you verbatim, is, "Yo, I'm ripping shots with Cinna's dad right now, LOL." And I'm like, okay, this dude's fucked up. Now me, I go to bed at a reasonable time. I think 1:30. And then I get up at 10:30. I sleep 9 hours. I have an excellent day because Saturday I have a sponsor. If you guys didn't watch a stream, which 95% of you didn't, I did a sponsor with Samsung Mobile where we played PUBG. This entire day though, Yingling is out of commission. He is like hungover. He's trying to deal with his hangover. He feels like shit. He basically spends the entire day in bed. Because of that, Sunday comes, he leaves. He's like, "Hey man, I'm not feeling good. I'm just going to go home." And he leaves early. I'm like, "All right, dude, no worries." And so me, Sunday, I have 3 things that I need to do. The first thing is get food with some friends. All right. Michael Reeves ended up during this whole entire weekend getting his bike impounded. His registration, he pulled a Ludwig, was out of date. His bike got impounded. He had to get his bike back. In the process of getting his bike back, which was a whole day's adventure in it of itself, 2 separate people in 2 separate locations in San Diego, when he asked them for food recommendations, told him to go to this one Filipino spot. And so after Michael comes back, it's like me, Michael, Lily, a few others. He's like, "We got to go to this fucking spot." I am going to blow up this spot right now. The reason is because it is so fucking good, and I also don't live in San Diego, so I don't mind if anyone who's visiting San Diego or lives in San Diego goes to this place and blows it up because it deserves it. We end up going to this place called Tita's Kitchenette. Tita's Kitchenette is a Filipino spot. I have not had a lot of Filipino food in my life. It is not only the best Filipino food I've ever had, it is some of the best food I've ever had. After that, I'm the fullest I've ever been. But Cutie has a cookie truck, and in it, she's giving away cookies and doing a meet and greet with her viewers. And I'm like, I got to go to my girl's cookie truck. I'm leaving that day back to LA. So I'm like, all I have to do on my list is go to Cutie's cookie truck. So I message her. I'm like, "I'm on my way." She goes, "Ugh, bad news. We are running behind and I need major help from you. I haven't even had the chance." This Cutie telling me this. She goes, "I haven't had the chance to go into TwitchCon. I need you to go to TwitchCon and take the picture of me that's on the wall, because I haven't even got to see it yet." Because if you don't know, they basically like blow up these giant pictures of creators and they have them on like the wall as like murals, and she didn't get to see her own face on the wall and she wanted to see it. So she's like, "Can you do that for me? This is my new mission. This is my new mission. I have to do this for Cutie." I'm like, "All right, I got you." I did not realize how hard this mission would be. I start this mission at 2:00. This mission takes me about 3 hours. Because my experience at TwitchCon is different than many other people. TwitchCon, compared to every single other place on Earth at every other time on Earth, is the most famous I am in the world. I'm not saying this to brag. Just factually, a convention for Twitch streamers, as the guy who was the most subscribed Twitch streamer for a period, makes it harder to travel around. And so what I thought would be like, yeah, I'll fucking walk in, grab the pick, walk out, was a struggle. Because one person would come up and then someone would see me, and it's not even on some like, "Oh my God, that's Ludwig. I love Ludwig" shit. It's on some like, "Oh my God, I've collected 7 of the 10 fucking Pokemon badges that I want. And now I see Ludwig, this guy that I vaguely recognize. I want picture with Ludwig." That's what it is. A lot of people just want yeah, there's Ludwig. I'll get a fucking picture with him. He's right fucking there. Why not? And so I'm walking through, and in this journey that's supposed to take like 10 minutes, takes me like an hour and a half, just walking through, running into different people. And I finally find it. Here it is. She looks beautiful. I take my picture with it. You might notice someone took a picture for me. And that's because after a while, I developed this strategy. When people would come up to me and ask for a picture, I basically formed a team. I said, "You can take a pic with me, but you have to find me QT Cinderella on the wall. We can travel as a pack together. I'll take a picture with you there, but I need to find this thing." So a group of like, not even like that many people, because most people who I told this were like, "No," and they walked away. Like 95% of people that I told this to were like, "Yeah, I ain't doing all that." It's like these guys don't fucking love me. They're not watching my stream. They just vaguely know me and like they wouldn't mind a picture with me. But if it's slightly inconvenient for them, they don't actually fucking care. The 5 people who rolled up with me to Cuties thing though were real fans, right? They're actually down to like walk around, explore a bit. We find it. They take the picture of me and then I take the pictures with them. As I'm taking the pictures with them, one of the dudes is like, oh, dude, this is great. I actually just got a picture with Tyler 1. And I'm like, pause, wait, what? He's like, yeah, Tyler 1's doing his meet and greet right now. And I'm like, really? So I start heading over and a plan forms in my mind. I'm like, what if I take a picture with him, but he doesn't know it's me? So as I'm walking over, I already have a hat on, which is, part of the disguise. And I'm coincidentally wearing an LCS jacket because at the Samsung event, Double Lift left it behind. So you can't super see it, but this jacket right here says LCS. I'm only wearing it because Double Lift left it behind. I grabbed it for him. So I'm like, this kind of works perfect. I walk into this one person. Almost nobody at this convention is doing this, but one person I see is wearing a mask, like a COVID mask. You know what I mean? And I happen to see this guy. I'm like, yo, do you have an extra mask? And he's like, yeah. And he gives me a mask and I throw it on and I head over to the line. Now, Tyler 1 is very famous. And I say that because his line is fucked. His line goes for probably an hour, which is a problem because I'm trying to make it back to Cutie's cookie truck before it closes so I can see her before I'm driving away. So I go to the front of the line and I'm wearing my disguise and I ask a group of people, I say, hey, this is awkward, I know, but do you mind if I cut in line with you guys? And they go, probably not. Maybe check the back of the line. And I'm like, yeah, fair enough. I go a couple of groups behind and they start like chatting with me. I think because they heard me, they go, hey, what's up, man? I go, not much. And they're like, you having a good con? I'm like, we chat a little bit. And I go, hey, can I cut in line with you? Because we had a bit of a rapport. They go, I don't know about all that. Maybe try a different line next time. This is going to work for us. From those 2 conversations, somebody at the very front or close to the very front of the line goes, Ludwig? And I go, what up? And they go, can I get a picture? And I go, can I get in line with you? And they're like, sure. And now I have a much better spot in line than I would have from the first 2 groups. I take a picture with them. They're very sweet. They both used to play League. They play Valorant together as a couple. And I take off my mask, take a picture with them. The group that said no to me, right, on some pretty woman shit, goes like, dude, that was Ludwig. And I'm taking the picture. I'm not being like a dick about it, but in the back of my head, I'm like, you don't know how high I can fly. I'm on like some Michael Scott shit. I'm like, you should have got me when you had the chance. You treated me different when you didn't know who I was, and now you know who I was, and now you are acting differently. I'm living through a Darman video, but thanks to them, I'm far ahead in line now. I put the mask back on, and then I go up, and I didn't really even know what I was going to say. I just knew that I wanted to have this moment where I took off the mask. And this is what that ended up looking like.
I snuck into Tyler 1's meet and greet, and this was his reaction.
So everybody has probably seen the picture that I posted on Instagram of Tyler's face when he realizes it's me in the line with just an incredibly fed up face. Just fucking had it to here. Before that picture was taken, this is how the conversation went. I went, yo, Tyler, do you think I can be good at League one day? He goes, what's your rank? I go, I'm bronze 4 right now. And he goes, you're shit. You'll never be good. He doesn't know I'm Ludwig at this time. I just told him my genuine rank and how long I'd been playing. When I take off the mask, this is his face. I see his face. I go, it'd be funny if I put my arm around him. Get off me, bro. And in Tyler fashion, he blows up. And I'll let the rest of the conversation play out.
You are dog shit at everything you do. You, I see your shitty shitty pants. Listen! I love one compliment.
And that's how the conversation goes. And so, love it or hate it, League fans rejoice. The season ends in January. I have about 3 months to go from bronze 4, the bottom of bronze, to platinum. So all the way through bronze, all the way through silver, all the way through gold. And I get one compliment from Tyler after 3 years of him basically spitting the ground that I walk on. And then I have that great interaction. I'm like, this is fucking great. I need to go back to my hotel room. Excuse me. I need to go back to Yingling's hotel room because I left my motorcycle helmet there, right? This is past the picket fence. This is the Scab Hotel. I wasn't there the whole weekend, but I left my motorcycle helmet there and I need to go grab it to drive back. As I'm walking, again, remember, it's impossible to walk anywhere. Just to give you some reference of how hard it is to travel, I eventually spotted tens in Kaide who were live streaming. And I came up with a bit of a strategy.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Oh my god.
Did you hear what I did earlier? I was getting bombarded, so I go, is that Tenzin Kaide? And then I ran away.
Fuck you, bro.
Oh my god, is that Ludwig? Ludwig!
Dude, stop!
So I'm throwing like smoke grenades. Is that Kaide intense? And I run.
Oh my god, I'm getting harassed. Who is this?
And it actually works. Even doing it jokingly, it works. And so after that, I'm making my way to the hotel. All right. Bear in mind, this hotel is on strike. And I go up to whatever floor we're on and I use my key card. Doesn't work. And I call Yingling. I'm like, what's the hotel number? And he's like, he tells me it. And I'm like, this is right. So I go downstairs. I'm like, hey, my key card doesn't work. And they're like, oh yeah, let me check it. And then he goes, it looks like that hotel is only available until today. You were supposed to have checked out by 11 o'clock. The trade that we did with Maya not only was for a hotel room that was on strike, it was for a hotel room that was only available for 2 of the 3 days of TwitchCon, which I did not know. And I wasn't staying there, but I had things there. And at this point, it's like 4:30 p.m. because, I've been getting stopped a few times. I went to do the Tyler thing, whatever. So I'm like, is there any way I can get my stuff? And he goes, yeah, can I get your ID? And he's looking at my ID and he's like looking at the monitor. He's like kind of confused. He goes, you're not listed here. And I'm like, oh shit, how do I do this? And that morning, I had seen a clip of Cutie trying to get behind some TwitchCon security thing into some phase event and lying that Jason, the Ween, was her boyfriend and they let her through. So thinking quick on my feet, I go, I'm Maya's boyfriend. And the security guard, or the guy behind the counter goes, oh, okay. All right. Yeah, we'll call security and they'll escort you through. And I'm like, okay, cool with me. And in my head, I'm like, this shouldn't work. This should be anyone could do this now. Like anyone could just say, hey, I am so-and-so's significant other. Let me know the fucking hotel room. That'd be horrible. Of course, it's not that easy. You see, a security guard comes after 10 minutes. And before we enter the room, he goes, tell me 3 specific items that are in that room and where you're going to find them. And I'm like, okay, sure. And I actually can do it. I'm like, there's a motorcycle helmet, there's a bright green backpack, and I have like a pink phone charger, something like that. And the moment he unlocks the door and we get in, I show him all those things. He goes, okay, you are good to go. And because I haven't packed anything because I thought I would have more time, I start making small talk with the security guard. I'm like, so what's up with the strike? Why aren't you on strike? Just asking general questions. And that's when this guy reveals to me, well, hey, I'm part of security. And he goes, he talks like Dwight Schrute. He goes, I am the eyes and the ears for the general manager. And I go, so what's the strike about? And he goes, well, the union has been on strike since September 1st. It is September 20th. It's a 3-week-long strike. I didn't realize how long this strike was. A 3-week-long strike. And he goes, they're asking for more money, of course. And I go, do they go on strike a lot? He goes, no, but if we give them what they want, they're just going to go on strike again. And he's just kind of, I assume, parroting talking points from the general manager and higher ups at the Hilton. And I'm taking my sweet time packing my bag because I packed my bag very tightly. As I'm doing that, I think he's getting annoyed by the questions I'm asking. So he starts to say, let's hurry this up. And I'm like, well, okay, I have to pack my bag tightly. And in an attempt to make me go quicker, starts to open random drawers in the room to see if anything's in it. Now, because he is doing this, he comes onto a drawer that is actually full of clothes. that are not my clothes. They are Nick Yingling's clothes. I have packed my bag so tight. I am on a motorcycle. I literally am driving the motorcycle from this area. I cannot carry this clothes. I cannot carry it. And so he goes, are these yours? And because I don't want to carry these, I go, no, which was a fucking mistake. Because now my story is falling apart because these are men's clothing and I'm the boyfriend. And he goes, well, whose clothes are they? And in a desperate effort to get out of the situation, I go, I don't know. Is there a way to find out? And he looks almost puzzled. He doesn't say much. I'm like, is there some way that someone else could get in this hotel room? And he's like very unamused, listening to me spiral about my fake girlfriend Maya possibly having cheated on me with a guy that is Nick Yingling. I'm like trying to like cope too. I'm like, is there any way that like a previous guest's clothes could be in here and cleaning staff would have missed it? You know, with the strike and all. He hasn't said a word the entire time I am spiraling. I have gotten all my stuff. He goes, sir, can you please leave? And I walk out and he stays in the hotel room, presumably to search it, while I go downstairs. I want a little bit of revenge. Maybe because I'm just mad that I had to go through this process to get my stuff. Maybe because the guy was so unamused with me. Maybe because they weren't like helping out the union. I had parked my bike there for 3 days. The price point for that, I believe, was $40 a day. I owed like $100 some odd in parking for my motorcycle. So the good news is that I drive a motorcycle. Because what a motorcycle can do when there's a giant gate that you can't drive through is just go skirt, go around that shit, drop a little fuck you, and head on home. So I may or may not have allegedly driven off the Hilton property sans paying. All right, they might have gotten hit with a little bit. And then I make my way over to Cutie's meet and greet. I got a cookie. Here's a picture from it. The cookie was fire. It was a god-like cookie. She looked fire as always. She's a beautiful woman. And then me and Michael made the beautiful drive north back to LA. And that was my TwitchCon San Diego experience. It was relatively lackluster, minus becoming a scab for a couple of days and going undercover to meet Tyler 1 and also having a fake girlfriend who ended up cheating on me, which, all things considered, is kind of par for the course for shit that happens at TwitchCon. And I guess also flaking on a son. Yeah, that's true.